Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, and I'm back. I wanted to follow up on a previous episode where I explored superheroes who had girlfriends who figured out their secret identity. I didn't get around to Mary Jane and Peter Parker because I was so busy talking about Tony Stark and Bethany Cabe, another redhead, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank here. Oh, Bernie Rosenthal and Captain America and Steve Rogers. And so when I first read this is issue 257, going to 258. MJ drops the bomb that she can't cope with the fact that Peter Parker is secretly Spider-Man. And at the time when I was reading it, I thought it was kind of wacky, but I wasn't sure if there were like Easter eggs earlier on, or worse yet, stuff to be debunked. Like stuff that she would never say stuff or think this kind of stuff if she knew he was Spider-Man all this time. Well, this is me being Captain Cynical, and I decided to go back and revisit this and see if we have any evidence that suggests she went in the room before. Basically, that MJ and Peter's conversation gets interrupted by the Black Cat, who's Peter's current lover at the time. Don't do that. But okay. They explore this a little longer about why, how she knows he's Spider-Man, and then she goes into her past, which kind of explains, like she saw Peter as a bookworm, but she didn't know he's Spider-Man quite yet. There really doesn't seem to be a timeline, or MJ doesn't really give one. So she's basically telling her origin story about how, she was always like the flighty redhead and always partying because she was hiding, a secret tragedy in her life with family issues. And so they've been just having a good time. Or not a good time. The reader's having a good time. Well, I care about you, Peter. I really do. I may find it real hard to cope with the fact that get your kicks by risking your neck, but that doesn't change my feelings for you. Look, I don't want you to misunderstand. I'm not talking about love, and I want you to know that your ever-amazing Spider-Man is real proud to count you among his friends. Oh, Pete, you're such a cornball. What's going to happen now? Who knows? Well, nothing really happens at that point because kind of at the last minute before the Spider-Man wedding was sort of a thing that I think Stan Lee wanted to do. I can't remember if Jim Shooter came up with it first or, I don't know. I gotta thumb through my other books real quick. Okay. So I decided to do some research, because I'm like, Well, okay, let's go back to Marvel Masterworks, which covers, what is it? It covers issue 169 to 180, plus the annual and crossover with Nova. At this point, Mary Jane and Pete are still a couple. Feisty Aunt May gets knocked around, and she has her umpteenth heart attack. Now, here's the problem. In the 70s, there was this, like a mandate by Stan, which was passed down to Roy, which was passed on to the other writers, that never change anything. Give the illusion of change, but don't change anything. So Pete was in a holding pattern, and it's like Len Wein is a really good writer, but I think he was hamstrung by these rules. And same with Marv Wolfman, who came later. So you'd have the old saw of like the Green Goblin coming back in the form of his former roommate, Harry Osborn. Just like with Norman Osborn when he was alive, he never came back. Forget what Brian Michael Bendis wrote, or J.M. whatever his name is. That was bullshit. So, what was I going to say? There was just this, like J. Jonah Jameson had to always be more wacky and more outlandish in his hatred of Spider-Man, to the point of being way beyond being a cartoon, just a absurd character. Well, anyway, she get a heart attack, and thankfully in the 80s, a lot of the writers kind of disregarded that because they wanted to make Aunt May more than a victim, more than just the usual person that Pete has to walk around eggshells walk around eggshells, walk on eggshells, to be around. And that was a good idea. It was a really good idea. So there's more Mary Jane, and she's not saying anything about, or she's not having thought balloons about, him being the Spider-Man. Well, so there's more of her. Nice Ross Andrew art, but like I said, the Green Goblin thing was really beaten. And then she has another heart attack. So I'm thinking, if they have to operate, God forbid, they'll need Peter's permission. It's ringing, but I'm not getting a response. Come on, Peter, answer your phone. You're supposed to be home studying. You've got to answer, Peter. You've got to. Your poor aunt is dying. Well, here's the next cover. And I actually dropped the book at this period. Oh, come on, focus, Pally. I actually dropped the book at this period for that very reason. It was just the same old grind, same old storylines. There's some more of MJ, and she says, my odds of fighting a needle named Peter Parker, come on, man, focus, in a haystack this size are worse than awful, but I have to find him. I have to. And you know what? Maybe she just calls him Peter Parker in her mind. If she knows he's Spider-Man or doesn't know, it doesn't affect her opinions. Because if Pete is out not showing up for his aunt, what? Gotta get back to the hospital, Mary Jane. I'm on my way. But he gets interrupted by Green Goblin in a second. And your nephew Peter will be here any second. I'll sign the surgical consent forms. And once he does, everything's going to be fine. So more stuff goes on. Don't worry though. I'll be at Aunt May's bedside when she awakens. This time, Tiger, you'd better be. And that's the end right there. As far as so far, no evidence that she knows he's Spider-Man. But there's no evidence that she doesn't know he's Spider-Man. Are you following me? Okay. It's a big-ass, wonderful omnibus of Roger Stern. Okay. This is the next volume, Marvel Masterworks. Going into the Marv Wolfman era. Yeah. Len Wein's kind of passing a torch. She's still in the hospital. And, there's sometimes Ross Andrew could draw people with crazy eyes, but his stuff is so amazing. He goes to MJ and asks her for her hand in marriage, but he does a clever Cracker Jacks. She took that out. Will you marry me? Okay. Maybe no. I gotta think it over. And she returns the ring. Why are you returning it? She goes, there's a world of groovy guys out there, and this doll's got to be free to find them. Besides, I'm not the down home and marrying kind. Put a smile on your face, doll face. I'll see you around sometime. She jilted me. Okay. Granted. But she disappears for a while, and he ends up with Deb Whitman, who is like the opposite of MJ and Gwen. Basically, I have an episode called Deb Whitman, Peter Parker's favorite doormat. They really went with like this real timid character that would just, every issue she'd be thinking, oh, Peter. She's always upset that he wouldn't show up. And that was really disoriented. It was uncomfortable, to be frank. Well, MJ is her first appearance in 20-some issues. And she shows up again. Back to the Big Apple. And, she talks to Harry and Liz. He still got that wild haircut that his dad had. That Kramer hair with the widow's peak. So she's like, I'll never be serious. And she's like, I hope he hadn't hurt himself. Well, they get fixed up by, what's his name? Ned Leeds and Gloria, or Betty Brant, or whatever her name is. So it looks like something may happen, but I don't know. She goes out on the town. And Oh, by the way, John Romita, I think he inks this issue, but I'm just too lazy to turn back. But he also did a lot of redraws on their faces to keep them on model, like when Ross was doing them and Gil Kane was doing them. So they're just kind of goofing around at the pool, and then she's gone from the book again. Oof. Man, these things are heavy. Oh, yeah. Okay, now, where do I jump to? Where do I go? Where do I go? Well, she's gone for a while, and like I said, Deb Whitman was kind of, well, okay, we've established that, and then she shows up again out of the blue to, oh, there she is. She shows up. And, yeah, that's when she reveals it to him. And you know what? Like I said, there's no proof that she didn't know. There's no proof that she knew. So, you know, it's a wash. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it was really clever. I was really ready to, like, grumble and bellyache and say, this is all chicanery. It's a lie. We already went to this issue. Well, that's about it. And then at the last minute, I don't have those issues yet, but actually I do. You wait there, everybody, okay? Okay. And these Epic collections are the best. I love these things. They're affordable and you get a ton of story. Anyway, what's kind of funny is, let me see. Let me jump ahead. Okay, there's Hobgoblin mystery that turns out to a mess. Well, he asks Mary Jane again, but this is so last minute. This is so, how can I put it? I don't want to say impromptu. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's too late for me to form proper sentences. Okay. Okay. Anyway, it's so weird. It's like he catches up with Mary Jane, you know, a couple years later, and some nice JR art. And she says, no. And here's the whole thing. Come here, you. Come here, you, Paige. This was so last minute. What happened was, I can't remember if it was Stan or Jim Shooter or somebody else. They decided to bump up the sales of Spider-Man because it was kind of dwindling. I actually quit the book again during the Hobgoblin mess when they kept changing the rules, and I didn't know until later that was editor Jim Owsley, who was now Christopher Priest, who has since apologized on his blog for making the book a mess about Hobgoblin. He said I was too young to be an editor, and you know, I just had this attitude that I was gonna shake things up constantly. So you know, he at least he came clean about it, because I quit during the Hobgoblin thing because it dragged on for a few years, and it didn't had dragged on as long as it did. So I quit the book again, and I really didn't come back until like after 300 when Mick Delaney and McFarlane took over, and it was pretty fun. Anyway, what happened is somebody decided they should get married, and it was the same time as they decided to time the newspaper strip, which is still out, but it's very rare. Did she say? Okay, jumping ahead. There she is. Now she says, yes, I'll marry you. What they did is they set up this whole thing where the newspaper strip would simultaneously have the wedding, and it was going to be a MJ and Spider-Man cosplayer at I don't know if it was Yankee Stadium, I think, that they were getting married on TV. And TV, I don't say it like that. So it was like this big promotion. But it was so sudden. It was just like a big shakeup. It's like, whoa, here comes MJ. Oh, he's proposed again. Oh, she said, yeah, okay, we gotta get this done. Stat. So it's just kind of weird. But they got married, even though it was very contrived how they got married. It all worked out. I really enjoyed them as a married couple. And that whole bullshit story about Joe Quesada having Mephisto, give up their marriage and their love, so Aunt May could live. It's so dumb because Mephisto was involved with it. It was a what do they call? Not a redo, but it was kind of a retcon. What happened with Ghost Rider? Johnny Blaze, his father figure growing up, Crash Simpson, crashes. Shocking, I know. Well, what happens is he ends up with cancer or some other ailment, and what's a guy to do? Johnny goes and prays, or he has a pentagram and he prays to Satan and blah blah blah, and he gets his the cancer is gone. But the next week, Crash Simpson crashes for good. He's dead. So Johnny Blaze is like, "Hey, you made a promise." He's like, I'm like the devil in the Marvel Universe, and I don't play games. I don't, I ain't gonna let you get ahead. That's the same thing that should have happened in that One More Day crap, because what happened was Mephisto helped out Aunt May, kept her alive again, and she stayed in the book. But the same thing. It's like, the devil / Mephisto. He don't play by the rules. He's going to be like, okay, a week later, she gets hit by a bus, because he's that kind of guy. But it is bullshit about it was another contrived thing. It's like, got to get rid of their marriage. People can't relate to Pete and MJ. And I tried a few issues where he was single again, and it just felt so contrived because, he'd spent a good time, being married, a good long time in continuity, and it just wasn't working for me. Also because he didn't have any real relationships for a while. That was another case, Casada, what do you call, edict, no relationships, I don't know how long that was supposed to last. Anyway, One More Day was just so stupid. What was it? Oh, well, anyway, Mephisto, supposedly as his reward, he was going to be like, I know that your love for each other will be gone forever and your marriage forgotten. Yeah, that's a real payoff, Yeah. So, that was baloney. Well, okay, I'll tell you what. Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends as co-plotter, they convinced me 100% that MJ probably knew all this time, and she'd refer to him as Peter Parker in her thought bubbles because she knew Peter much more than she knew Spider-Man as far as FaceTime. You know what I mean? Yeah, hey, it works, dudes, and hats off, because I'm a very cynical SOB, and I'm pretty cheery for everything so far. That stuff is so good. I recommend it over and over again. Also, DeFalco and Friends' Thor era was just fantastic. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any opinions to the contrary, or if you have more further evidence that she might have known, but my understanding is she just spent a lot of time being annoyed because Pete wasn't around, and he was always running off to take pictures. But she never said that, she never mentioned if he was Spider-Man or not, but she was still pissed off because he was gone a lot of times when people needed him in his life, that is. So that's it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, and this time I'm signing out for good. Anyway, I'll catch you next episode. I hope you dug it. Leave comments below. Please hit like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And if you like this, please share it with somebody else. I want to get more people involved with this. I have no agenda. I just have comics. I love comics, and that's all that matters. And if you're watching this, you love comics too. I have like 500 subscribers so far. I'm thrilled about it. So we'll see if we get more. I'm not taking any money for this. Ad free, because when you're busy doing something, let's say I'm washing the dishes and I'm listening to something, and then I get this interruption about this guy going, hey, this superfood you eat may cause you to grow 10 feet tall. It might improve your love life, blah blah blah, blah. And it's one of those really long ones that just agitate you, and it's like, my hands are full, I can't do anything. So no ads. So anyway, please leave comments below. And I love comments, and I don't delete any of them. If you could dispute, that's cool. All right, take care.